Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Day, Santiro. Welcome to your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and today we're looking at the role of women in traditional Carolinian society. And here to share with us from her personal experience is Florence Selepeo Kirby. Auntie Florence, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure, Kathy.
And thank you for having me here at your home. The breeze is blowing through the palapala here. It's very refreshing. Tell us a little bit about you and your family, where you grew up.
I grew up in Garapan. We used to live in Philippi at the farm. And then when they divided up the lots in the main Garapan, which is right by the Cristo Rey Church, we moved out there. So a lot of those houses, my dad, who was a carpenter, helped build.
And how many of you are in how many siblings do you have?
There are 4 of us, but my mom and dad raised 4 more. The kids of my mom's sister who passed away, well, the parents got into an accident. They have 4 little ones, and my parents took them in and raised them. So there were 8 of us growing up. But not only that, there's my uncle, my mom's sister's children, who spend most of their life with us. So there's always a lot of us growing up. There were 6 girls and 2 guys. The 2 brothers were actually our first cousins, but we never thought of them as first cousins because, again, we grew up together. We never knew that they were our first cousin until I was in high school. The whole time we fight our, cats and dogs, we never knew that we are not real brothers and sisters, but first cousins. But that's because the way my parents treat us all the same.
Tell us a little bit about the role of women in the family and the community in Carolinian society.
We're very matrilineal culture. A lot of the decisions and work is from us, the women.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning that if, for example, my dad is the boss of the house, right? But it's my mom that dictates daily what needs to be done. So besides my dad doing what he needs to do, he always also have to make sure that what my mom wants us to do is carried out. So when we were growing up, we all are being given a chore. After school, this is what you do. After school, you go and stay with Nana Sabit, because she was because she's sick, or on weekends, everybody share in washing. We wash by hand, and not only are we being taught how to work, not only wash by hand, but then we make the starch, from plants.
And so your mom was the one delegating the chores.
Right.
But your dad was always there to back her up and make sure that everybody did what mom
for
said.
example, like he would come around and say, okay, what do you need? And he said, we need, this plant, this, because we need to make starch, because we're going to wash this weekend. And so he would go and find the plant, bring it home, and then give it to my mom, who would show us how to do it before the weekend.
Now, you mentioned washing clothes. Was it only the women who washed clothes and the girls?
Yes, of course.
Okay, what kind of work was more typical for women, and what type of work was more typical for men?
Oh, for men, of course, is going to the farm, going fishing. and fixing what needs fixing, the house, or farming. When we farm, we also have animals, so they take care of all of that. We tell them when we need chicken, then they make sure that there are chickens, available for when we need them, or we need a pig or whatever. They're there to make sure that we have what we want.
So your dad, as you mentioned, was a traditional healer. What role did your mother play, if any, in his profession, shall we say?
Oh, she always makes sure that we have, our house is always clean. We always have food for everyone. And she's just delegating or making sure that not only for the people that are there, but also if the men are going to go fishing, to make sure that we set aside certain things for them. We make sure that they have their rope or to get it all ready. So she's always making sure that what you need is there. It's an unspoken guidelines that my dad never have to say, I need this, I need this, I need this. She already knows. Or she will remind him that, you have to take that. Or did you call, a nephew to make sure that, especially those boys that are getting into adulthood, to make sure that they are included when you go out. For example, when you go out fishing, or when he gathered the guys to go to the farm, that like your sister has a son that is ready, I think, for you to include him in your trip this time. So my dad would send a guy to wherever, make sure that the boy is there or the guy is there. Yeah. There's no such thing as, well, maybe they don't want to, or why. It has to be done, and there's no one to do it but you. Okay? So we don't question it so much. It's like, okay, it has to be done.
What kind of responsibilities did you have as a young lady in your household?
Oh, I was young, but I walk with basket of fish to Tanapak to deliver to my dad's sister.
From Garapan?
From Garapan. And Nano Sepa, his other sister, Lino's mom, in Larifor. And his other sister, golf course, Edmund's great-grandma.
You would walk there?
Yes, we would, because we don't have car.
Yeah.
So usually we go and we stay the night, and then we'll come back the next day. It's usually me and my dad. He make this person who delivers to his sisters. The other job is to go and get, because we don't have broom, we have to go and get the manzanita for broom, because it really makes the floor very shiny.
Really?
Yes, very, very clean.
You're talking about the limbs or the branches?
The branches.
Okay.
And we tie them together, a bunch, and then you use it to sweep the house. It really, really cleans the floor.
Really?
Makes it also very shiny, like you...
polished it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, and we have to do that before, you cannot sweep at night. So you have to clean your house before 5 o'clock, and it's also the time when we expect people to start coming, because they cannot just come at any time. They would, so we make sure that me and my sisters, we make sure we clean the house. We have their blankets ready, for them to sleep, because we all sleep on the floor. We have mats, individual mats a lot. And then when the people gets there, then they'll make sure that they have food. In the morning, we get up early to make coffee and to make breakfast for everyone. And it's not, and this is all of us, the girls. I don't remember anyone getting up grudgingly, everybody gets up already. Maybe because there's so many of us. Because even our other cousins that come to stay and kind of grow up with us, and they all have to share the work. So it's always fun to do work with your cousin instead of with your sister, Dustin.
Well, we're chatting today with Florence Selepeo Kirby about the role of women in traditional Carolinian society, and we'll be back with more after this break.
Did you know that the Northern Marianas Humanities Council is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year? Si Auntie Chayla Nesti. We eat healthy fruits and vegetables for a healthy body, Well, the humanities are like healthy food for our soul. Goffmani et Hitler. Adahi, don't forget your daily dose of the humanities this year. Go to their Facebook or their website. In Northern Marianas Humanities Council. Atcha bebe.
Half a day. Pagunasakan, the celebra imina 30 años desde Anamanaguaha, Northern Marianas Humanities Council. In Northern Marianas Humanities Council, manazuzuda gi comunidad para u abida ilinala todo tauta Marianas. Tat kumia zudu gi man ilo information den tilingo por Marianas, i azudu gi mafatinas leblus en ottuna documento, i azudu siha ginini exhibitioni differentes na programanya siha, zan hanaguaguaha conversacion gi entuli tauta Marianas. In kumbibida hamzu todo para indanyai i Humanities Council di actividad siha ni managuaguaha pagunasakan. Pues maila de tafana abisita, tafana ilie yesti siha na actividad that a celebrate. Sizus maasit.
Welcome back to your Humanities Half Hour. Auntie Florence, can you talk to us about the role of the oldest daughter in the family? They have special responsibilities, I would say privileges, but it's probably more responsibilities.
It is.
What is that all about?
I guess it's the role of the mother. She start taking over her mother's responsibility and start making sure that we continue with what we needed to do. For example, like my oldest sister was the only one that was allowed to go out and work to bring in money, because my younger sister have to take care of the little ones while the next ones down, like me and my sister Vicky, are still in school.
Also, when there's a family function, whether it be like a wedding or a funeral, the oldest daughter is kind of the one that calls everybody together to organize, or we should say the oldest woman, or who would be the oldest daughter, is the one who kind of calls everybody to organize.
Usually, sometimes because she's so busy with everything else, she sits there. So it'll be like the next one down that would call, but the oldest sister is always there to make sure that it's being carried out right. But the one that would then start telling what to do would be the next one down from the oldest. The oldest just going to make sure that it's done right.
There's a little bit of balance there. It's not just one person dictating everything that's going to happen. It's
right.
like an overseer.
Exactly. Like I said, she started taking over the role of our mother. And every now and then she would call for us to meet and talk about land, talk about problem that is going on with our other relative.
There's a certain way, or traditionally, that people would resolve conflict in the Carolinian community. Do women have a special role to play when it comes to resolving any kind of conflict? Maybe somebody, one of the kids stole somebody else's chicken, or accidentally broke something, or maybe even something more serious. But what is the women's role in a situation like that?
I don't know about women's role, but I frankly think that we have more patient and understanding in dealing with it. That reminds me, a long time ago, at the Carolinian Affairs Office, when they were the director, we decided, several of us, I think it was me, Malua, and I forget who, Connie, Igisomarn, we decided that we need to set up our tribunal.
Plan? Like a traditional...
Yeah, and we went as far as setting it up, and what the proposal was, anyone who is in trouble out there in the community, the Carolinian Affairs would get involved.
To help them.
To help. Would only get involved to identify, and then send it to the tribunal group, which are all older
Was it all
men.
women? Oh, men.
Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like the old chief system.
Yes, but it was. But after they take care of giving the kid a scolding or whatever, we take them over.
The women.
Right. And make sure we guide them as they go, they repent, you know. And we did that.
It's almost, it's very similar, I feel, to restorative justice, where, you know, the person makes amends and they make restitution, and then they're given guidance on how to reintegrate into society, because otherwise they just remain an outlaw or a criminal. So, well, that's very interesting. There's another important part that I would like to ask you to share, and it's about the role of women when it comes to property. Now, I know this is a kind of a technical subject and you're not a lawyer, but in general, could you give our listeners an idea of the role of women?
I don't think the lawyer is very smart when it comes to my land. Okay. And also, I frankly feel that we have to take the lead on this. The lawyers is just going to confuse us with laws, and that really has nothing to do with our culture. Land, to me, is very precious because it's very small. You know, our island is very small. We only have so much lands, and what I feel that should be done with it. You take care of it for them.
What do you mean?
I have no interest in other properties, but they are our family properties regardless. For example, my brother, my oldest brother, was given a piece of property here, and he leased it out. The lease is coming to an end. He only have one son that's alive now, but the three other kids older are gone, but they have kids. So I have no interest in this property. Personally, in owning or having a share, but I have to take care of it for his grandkids. So through my advice, it's coming together now where they are now are beginning to work something out.
My understanding is that being a matrilineal culture, traditionally the land would be not given, but when parents passed away, the oldest daughter would be the one who would hold the land in trust.
Yes.
For the entire family.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in other words, if somebody wanted to live on that land or somebody wanted to farm on that land, it wasn't like she personally owned it.
No. It's she's only in charge and make sure that everybody shares. One of our properties in Chalanala, there's no elder now to say something. So some are using the property, and when other kids who knew that that's also their property would come in and get some fruits and stuff, some families would get mad, like, you don't own this property. Yeah. So
how does that make you feel?
Well, it made me feel really bad because they would come to me again as being the only living
Elders.
Yeah. Manamko.
Yeah.
And I'll go, but they're wrong. You go back and you tell them that Grandma Florence said, no, you are, you also have the right to go and get whatever is in there. Now, if they plant something, they have a farm and you go and start picking at their farm, then that's not right. But something that was there ever since, like lemon, coconuts, mangoes, feel free. So I have to make them understand, you cannot say no to these kids that wanted to come and pick mangoes, that wanted to come and pick oranges, tangerines. And,
do you feel that there is still a place in today's society for the traditional role that women have played in Carolinian culture?
There's always a place, Kat. It depends on you. I think part of the problem is that we tend to lean toward the present, which is like modern, no? And we tend to kind of get laid back on our culture or tradition, like, this is what's happening now, so never mind that. I fight that all the time with my children, my relatives. Like, I don't care what this law says. When it comes to tradition, when it comes to culture, and it's right, then we follow. But if it's not right, of course, some of our culture is, or not culture, like custom is kind of like, so of course we don't pursue it. But custom, for example, respect. My kids would say, oh, Mom, this is American, I don't, because I still cringe when they would say bad word or they would joke, say something that is just so not done in my time. And so just like, just be a little bit more respectful. And they go, oh, Mom, like, you're so old-fashioned, That's not old-fashioned. That is being respectful. And tradition, that one is a good custom. I want to keep it that way.
Well, I think we've really covered a lot today. I really want to thank you for sharing. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Yeah, I wish that we have more days that's what we have more opportunity to be us. For example, there's nothing wrong with Friday being an island day. That's one. It's
Island
just like
wear?
island wear.
Yeah.
It's just like getting back to being me. That's one. Maybe once a month, we encourage business to let traditional food be brought, served in their business. Like banks in Guam, they do that, Kat, where at the banks, tomorrow month or they'll bring a small table for just a little bit of taste of island food. Some more and more. And also, at entertainment, local entertainment, we don't need tourists to do this. We can do it ourselves. Maybe every month something different, but something that will come back to me as an islander to feel, hey, good that I still have it, because we're so advanced already.
Well, we've been looking back at the role of women in traditional Carolinian society with Florence Selepeo Kirby. Thank you, Auntie Florence, for sharing today.
Oh, you're welcome. I don't know if I'm big help, but when I get back a little bit more to basic, just so we can feel good instead of being so uptight all the time with everything that's going on around us. No.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
This program was supported by a We the People grant awarded to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.